Decktechs is a science fiction dramatic comedy set in blue-collar space. It's the story of a young man named Don who really wants to work in outer space, but his eagerness exceeds his skill.
Think Firefly meets Top Gun
Meets Dilbert, in the sense that our main character is working for an incompetent corporation.
Decktechs is set in the future, but not all that far into the future. It's science fiction, but it's non-traditional science fiction. It's futuristic, but it's also realistic. Space is a means to an end.
If there's a continuum with Star Trek on one end and Blade Runner on the other end, Decktechs leans closer to Blade Runner. Humans are at the edge of the solar system harnessing solar power, and they're being put into space to work these jobs alongside with robots in what is essentially an underfunded corporate environment.
And that's really what feeds the comedy, the fact that this is not an ideal situation. It's more of a situational comedy, it's not slapstick. After disregarding the advice of a mentor and lying on his resume, Don finds himself stuck way out in space near Mercury, working on a maintenance team for a poorly run corporate space station.
Don thinks he's going to work here, but this is where he's working.
Dissatisfied with his job, he tries to blend in to adjust to life on the space station.
His real goal is to, at this point, save up enough money so that he can take the expensive trip back to Earth.
Don, our lead character, is naive, ambitious, and endearing. We're really rooting for this kid. Given the situation that he's in, he starts growing and maturing, and we really want to see him succeed.
He's kind of an impulsive guy. We like to play video games, and he's a screw-up. And I can absolutely relate to him sitting in the office, just getting totally reamed.
Oh, come on. Just because one stops talking, everything should come to a grinding halt. Communications fail. What now? Do I do the dishes?
Anna is Don's friend back home on Earth and also his love interest. She's a sweet girl who is fragile, but unfortunately she's very sick.
I think she's at a really interesting crossroads in her life. Awkwardness. She doesn't really know where she belongs, and she doesn't have a group of people, and makes me empathize with her a lot.
I just canceled all of my classes too. Look, nobody did anything wrong, it's just my doctor detected a neurological problem. Untreated, my nervous system will deteriorate. I'm going into cryogenic freeze.
James is Don's mentor. He's well established in his career. He's a very good man, and he sees a lot of himself in Don.
Well, James, in general, is a guy who at one point had a superiority complex, and he actually sees himself in Don. No, thrive. Try to thrive. This isn't something you can just quit.
Albert is beyond the typical buddy role. He sheds light on Don's gifts and his potential growth. He's a funny guy.
Sexy laziness, bravado. I think a lot of Albert is carefree. I have a feeling that this becomes kind of like a almost Han Solo Chewbacca kind of thing. They become this inseparable pair, and they have all these different adventures on the deck. That is what I connect most with the characters, that everything is in the now, and it's really cool to live in the moment as Albert.
Generally speaking, we don't want to assist the company in improving devices of torture that will be used against us.
Oh, that's just junk. These panels are tempting targets for meteorites. And he's getting knocked loose and just hang around.
So, what do I do? Turn the ship?
Which way?
Are you serious?
Right. Okay.
Shit!
Whoa!
Supervisor McCrae is Don's boss. She's the link between the underfunded space station and the corporation that owns it. The supervisor is stern and has seen everything. She's not sure if Don is going to make it on the solar beacon.
It was the exciting new project to find a new energy. Gradually she felt more isolated, and so she's just trying to make the best of a bad situation.
All of these systems, especially the robots, are interconnected. What did you do? Get me an IT team for the launch bay and get an experienced roboticist down here?
Visually, there is a lot of contrast between the grungy corporate environment that Don is being thrust into as opposed to the pristine corporate headquarters environment that James is in, which Don thinks he's getting into.
The sets on Decktechs reflect the characters and where they are in life.
Decktechs uses digital sets so that we can insert our actors into locations that would be impractical or even impossible to film in otherwise, such as the space station or the dock. And by doing this, we can expand our locations without expanding our budget. We have to film a lot of stuff on green screen. And when you're filming on green screen, you don't really know what you're looking at because everything is green. And so by doing previs, before we start shooting, we can establish what our shots are going to look like, what the scene blocking is, what the composition is, the lighting, the shot design, everything, before we start shooting, so we have a good idea of what the finished product will look like.
Pre-visualization allows us to pretty much go through the steps of creating the film. It also allows us to collaborate with the director. We can get the timing down correctly, we can show them lighting, and it's all, visual in their face, and then they can, make changes on top of it.
Pre-visualization allows us to create entire episodes before the cameras even start rolling, which is cost effective. And previs also aids the creative team in pre-production work.
With the combination of the sci-fi and the beautiful energy that Decktechs has, I see it as a winner.
Decktechs is designed for television programming. This TV series is a character-driven dramatic comedy, so it expands beyond the typical sci-fi base.
If you look at America, there is a blue-collar foundation that actually got them to where they are right now. So, that's something that, we all can connect to. And, that's one of the things that comes with it being more of a down-to-earth, grounded type show.
When you donate to Decktechs through Kickstarter, you help launch the crew into space. Because let's face it would be better to film here and not here.
Nothing like a dead-end job.
In space!